All right. Good afternoon. When it comes to injuries, just like I said after the game, no significant injuries, and if there are any that comes up, I will make sure that you guys get everything you need to know on Wednesday when everything comes out. When it comes to this game, this is probably the first time I really verbalized to you guys that I was frustrated the loss of this game, and I'm frustrated on every loss. All right, but this one was really frustrating. The fact that we had an opportunity to show the world exactly how we've grown as a team in all three phases. And man, the one thing that we didn't do well is our execution wasn't as high as I wanted it to be. And one thing that I talked to the team about during the week, especially on these Thursday games, the one thing that you have, well, three things that you have to do is one, the preparation has to be on point. And that has a lot to do with the recovery, absorbing the game plan, and just for us in general, growing within our process on how we want to do things. The next thing is energy and urgency of how you play. And I thought our guys came out with a ton of energy. The one thing, that I thought we failed on was the total execution, and that's really being detailed on how we go about doing things, and that was disappointing because I thought our guys played with a ton of effort, and those are things that we have to get better at as a young team, is making sure that we are very detailed, because in practice I thought we were. And we got in the game and we didn't do as good in that aspect. So that's something that we will learn from. When it comes to our offense, obviously, I thought we did a really good job of really running the ball, all right, with our quarterback and with our running backs. It was the number one rush defense in the league, and I thought we challenged that. Obviously, we got to do a better job in the passing game, and that has a lot to do with Justin getting the ball to the right guys, and also the guys, when they do get a chance to get the ball, that they make those plays. Defensively, communication issues came up, and when you have a lot of guys going in and out of the secondary, those things happen. That's not an excuse at all, but we got to get those things cleaned up. Special things, I thought we were just solid. So overall, it wasn't the type of game that I thought we should go out there and play and finish. But we will learn from these things. We will get better at these things, and we'll move forward. So any questions?
When you alluded to the communication issues on defense, Aaron, is that a lot of that pre-snap stuff you're talking about, or like specifically?
Yeah, I would say it's a little bit of both, Rich, to be honest with you. Pre-snap, and then with the movement of I would say turbo, when you have the fast motions, those things. So we actually moved Brownlee out the corner, and then we moved Stiggs out the corner, and Brownlee went at the nickel when we had different personnel packages that came in. And it seemed like we had some communication issues when it came to that.
Aaron, we've talked a lot about Breece in the passing game.
Yep.
Why has it been so difficult to really get him going there? I mean, I think he's only had 2 catches or less over the last 5 games, and there's no Garrett in 3 of those games.
No doubt. That's something that we got to get better at, and we got to make sure we target Breece a lot more. A lot of the route concepts that we had was really, set for certain guys to really get the ball. When that guy's not open, then we get ready to dump it off, and Breece a part of that. But also, Breece is in protection quite a bit too, so that has a lot to do with it too. But you're right. We have to make sure that we can build these concepts to where Breece gets the ball more in the passing game.
When you look at just the raw numbers on Justin, I mean, you see 170 yards passing for the last 2 games. Obviously, that's below an NFL standard.
Yep.
What is your current assessment of him?
We got to get better at that, Rich. We got to get a lot better in the passing game, and that's I don't think that's any surprise to anybody. But when you look at that game again, I thought he did some good things as far as, when he was getting the ball out with these guys. But I thought he did some things he have to improve. There are some open guys that we missed in that situation too. And I thought he would tell you that. That's no surprise. But man, there were some passes in that game I thought that we had a chance to make some big plays on, and we didn't finish those. So it's a combination of both of those. I thought the protection was pretty good for the most part. Right, so now it's Justin completing those passes, and the guys that have a chance to make those plays, they have to go out there and make those plays too.
AG, how encouraged were you by Mechie last night? What you saw?
Very encouraged, especially for a new player. that hasn't had a lot of time to come in and practice with us. That we have to have concepts specifically that he will be able to go out there and do well for us. I thought he did a really good job of that. And as a go forward, he's got to be one of the guys that we got to get the ball to, especially with Garrett being out. He has to be a guy that we look at and try to focus on him trying to get the ball.
I just wanted to follow up on the Justin Fields question, Aaron.
Yep.
Over this mini bye, might you consider a quarterback change?
You know what? I'm evaluating everything, Rich, to be honest with you. And I'm evaluating myself, the players, schematics, coaches. I'm evaluating everything. So I don't want to just place everything on that one situation. I'm just looking at everything because as a head coach, that's my job, right, to make sure that I put this team in the best position to go win games.
Aaron, obviously that first drive, I think it's a 72, 74-yard drive, something like that.
Yeah.
And then the next 4 is only like 23 yards of net offense. Are you considering at that point a change like you did in the Carolina game, like pulling Justin for Tyrod, or you're not considering it that?
You know what? At that point, I wasn't, because I was hoping that, man, we can try to get the magic back of what we have in that first drive, which we should be able to do because we were still in our openers, to be honest with you. And, man, that's what we have to do. We have to look at each drive as if it's our openers, because if you just look at what we've done on a number of our openers, man, we've moved the ball quite a bit. We moved it well. So within those pass concepts that we have, we can get the ball out quick. The run concepts with Breece and also Isaiah, man, we have to do a better job at not just doing that in the opening drive, but be able to continuously do that, as we go through these other series too.
As a guy who had 40-something interceptions in your career, how do you describe the current interception drought that you guys are in? Is it like perplexing, or is it like eyebrow raising? Like how do you? It's kind of weird.
It is. It's tough to have one takeaway. At this point in the season, it's tough to even imagine that because you have tip balls, you have things like that usually you get interceptions on. And, man, it is, I don't know if it's bad luck. I don't know. I can't finger point that. I put my hands on that. But that's something that we got to do a better job is because we do a good amount of zone. We do a good amount of man coverage. And I said before, when you're in zone coverage, that gives you a chance to be able to read the quarterback and be able to react on the quarterback's throw. So we have to do a good job being able to do that. And our ball guys got to go get the ball.
Take a couple more.
Brownlee was frustrated. I mean, I'm sure a lot of guys were frustrated, but Brownlee was frustrated after the game about everything, his penalties.
Yeah.
Did you happen to see that play where I think it was Douglas, he didn't touch him when he was down and then he got up and ran for 12, 13 more yards? Like, is there something you teach him or go to him about after that?
Well, he's still a young player, but that's no excuse. He has to know that, man, once the receiver catches the ball and he's down, you have to touch him to make sure he's down. So that was the conversation that I had with him. And there's no excuse on that. And Brownlee knows that. And he's been around this league long enough to be able to know that. So regardless of your frustration, the one thing that we talked about during the week is we can't let this team break us. And the thing that we want to make sure is no matter what happens, because adversity is going to hit. So when that hit, and I think the penalties kind of got to him at that point, that you can't allow that to be to linger on as you play the game. And I thought that did linger on a little bit. And he's a competitive guy, so I understand why. But you can't allow those things to affect you the next play.
Aaron, to the best of your knowledge, do you expect Garrett to play again this year?
I do. But again, that a lot of that has to do with the docs. And him being on this short-term IR, obviously, he gets to come back after 4 games. So hopefully he'll be back with us.
Kaz, did you have one?
I did, yeah. Sorry, my camera's not working. I know
Say it
you'll be
again?
disappointed. You can't see. My camera's not working. I know you'll be disappointed that you can't see my face today. I get that you're evaluating everything. I was curious with the quarterback decision. That position is different, right? Like, it's just a different position. They're the highest paid guys in the league.
No doubt. No doubt.
Is there any part of you with that decision where you're looking at it, not just maybe just Justin's play, but it could be a spark for your offense? It's one of the few levers a head coach can pull to try to kind of get a spark.
Yeah. And I think you hear that quite a bit when you get these quarterback changes is, man, I'm trying to get a spark for the team. But to me, it's more or less, man, I'm trying to make the best decision to give our guys a chance to win. Because to me, a spark is really a short-term deal. And I don't know if this is, what other coaches' decisions are. But, man, I want to make the decision to give us a chance to win. And, whatever that evaluation process come out to, just know that the reason why I make decisions that I make because it gives us the best chance to win.